Morning, guys. It's Saturday morning, January 14th. I'm at the tail end of the second week of prep. And so far, things are going okay. Progress is a little bit on the slower side of things. Lost about a pound in the first couple of weeks, so not a lot has come off just yet. Visibly, not really seeing a whole heck of a lot. So a little discouraging, I'll be honest with you guys. But at the same time, I've been doing this for so long. I know not to let my emotions, get the best of me. Sometimes when emotions get the best of us, we start making decisions we probably shouldn't be making. So I want to just allow a little bit more time to pass before I make any type of major adjustments. And the first 2 to 3 weeks of the prep, it's more about establishing a good routine, a good flow to my day. And that way I can ensure that the adherence is closer to 100%. I would say I'm probably in the neighborhood of 90%. The first week went really well as far as being able to adhere to the game plan as far as my starting protocols. But, when you're coming off an off season, especially coming off holiday season, you have to kind of clean things up. So I've been trying to clean up food sources, just making sure that I'm, sticking to my 4 meals per day, spreading that protein out as much as possible, and trying to figure out where to allocate my carbs, my fats, that type of thing, to make sure my energy is pretty stable throughout the day. Hunger isn't, let's say, getting overly escalated, and I'm able to perform in the gym as well as recover. Also manage the social aspects of life. Like, I don't want to be hindered so much that, the prep is, let's say, impacting the closest people around me, my wife, my son. So I want to make sure that the prep itself, it's free flowing. And again, first 2 to 3 weeks, there's always a little bit hiccups in there. Second week was a little bit more challenging just because I had a little bit more life events pop up. My wife's birthday was on Monday, so I had to navigate that. I don't want the prep to get in the way of her birthday. So I just ate light during the day, saved a good portion of calories for the evening time because we went out to a nice Chinese restaurant with the family and had plenty of buffer there, so I was able to order pretty clean off the menu. I had chicken and rice soup, and I saved enough calories to have a small piece of cake. So the conversation wasn't around my food. People weren't asking me why I wasn't eating or why are you bringing your food in the restaurant. None of that. We had a good evening. So I was able to navigate that pretty well. The rest of the week, it was a little bit unpredictable. It was a little bit challenging to get my step count in there. And not to mention, the weather hasn't been really favorable here in California. It's been raining like crazy. You guys have probably seen it's been flooding in some areas. Thankfully, where I'm at, it's not flooding. The ground is pretty saturated, but it's not flooding to a point where we're unsafe. So I'm very thankful for that. As far as getting my steps in, that window is first thing in the morning, right when I get up. Like, if I don't make it happen there, it ain't happening the rest of the day, because otherwise it's going to impact the family dynamic, and I really don't want to do that. But with that said, I'm probably going to have to find a different way of getting my activity in. And I know some of you might say, well, Jeff, just get a standing desk, or once you get some steps in while you're working. But my brain doesn't function that way. I can only do one thing at a time. Like, I like to focus on my work, not think about, okay, I'm getting these steps in. I want to have 100% attention into my work, into my athletes. They deserve that, and I deserve not to feel, let's say, stressed while doing it. So it's a win-win situation for both my athletes and myself if I'm focusing on one task at a time. I go for a walk, I want to be outdoors because it does set a nice tone to my day. And I've done some brainstorming, and I think what I'm going to end up doing and experiment with next week is, instead of going for that walk first thing in the morning at 6 in the morning, I'm probably going to start work at that time, get in a couple hours of work before getting my son ready for school, and then I'll just do my daily walk around 11 in the morning, and then have lunch at noon, and then come back to work after that and finish up my day. I think that might work for the weather and the time of year that we're in right now. And then once we start getting into springtime and summer, I'll probably go ahead and put that morning walk back in because the weather, and it'll be lighter at that time too, so that'll be more favorable. It's really tricky trying to get that execution down, and it's always about the environment that you're under. Like, your ability to execute is going to be based on the environment. So the protocol, sometimes we look at research, we look at science, or we look at what other people might be doing or telling us to do. So it's always important for me personally to kind of, really look at my current environment and, look at the protocols I'm trying to run. And if it's just not feasible, then I need to change the protocol up to where I can get closer to that 100% execution, even if it means it might be a little less suboptimal on paper or suboptimal based off of, research, science, or what someone else might be saying could be more optimal. So you have to kind of find what's practical and what's sustainable under the current environment. So that's basically what I've been doing the first couple of weeks, is just really trying to fine tune that day-to-day flow. And it's an ongoing process, but I think over the next couple of weeks, I think I'm gonna have a real good stranglehold on that. And I think, that's going to allow for that execution and the adherence to get closer to 100%. And therefore, I should see a little bit more progress. And even if I don't see more progress, what I will see is what exactly is happening, because the execution is close to 100%. The consistency is there. So it's easier to interpret and assess what's going on. And therefore, the adjustments I do make are going to be that much more effective and efficient. So that's more or less how the last couple of weeks have gone. On the training side of things, it's been going really well. So my game plan of training 3 days a week, every other day for the most part. On occasion, I might get in 2 days in a row, but no more than 2 days in a row to ensure that recovery. Like, the performance has been going really well. I've been able to either increase load or increase reps or both on my lifts. I attribute that to the recovery aspect. So no complaints there. And, aches and pains, I'm doing okay on that front. I've modified, some of my pressing movements, incorporating pauses, slow eccentrics, controlled concentrics. So I'm getting more with less load, which is good, and it's preventing the aches and pains. So training has been going really, really well. My fingers are crossed it's going to stay that way. As far as visual, I'm not one who really likes to take before pictures like early on. It's kind of discouraging to kind of see myself on the fluffier side. I mean, I already see myself in the mirror. Like, I don't need to take photos of it and then post it online. Like anyone else, I do have my insecurities, just not one to share those visuals until I get more comfortable. When I get more comfortable, I'm a little bit leaner, then yeah, I mean, I'm okay to share, those photos. So like anyone else, I'm human, have some insecurities. That's one of them. Okay, I'll just focus on trying to execute and see if that scale trends down. If it does, great. I know I'm moving in the right direction, and especially if my performance and recovery is good, then I know I'm on the right track. But anyways, I will leave it there. Any questions at all, any comments, please drop those below. And as always, I'll do my best to engage. And if I miss one of your questions or comments, it's not because I'm purposely doing that. It's just the fact that I am a father, I am a husband, I do coach quite a few athletes. So time is of the essence. So just know that I do care. I'm sorry if I do miss. But other than that, hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk more next week.